we're going to talk to Mark Llewellyn-Slade.
Oh, I think we should, definitely. Yeah.
Not only has Posh Spice all over the papers today, because she happens to have leaked the fact that she's getting an OBE in the Queen's Honours list over the new year. And Mark is a man who is an expert at not only the whole area of the honours, but also in getting people honours. So we might even be able to get you one if you play your cards right. Mark, a very good afternoon to you.
Hello, Mike.
How are
Mark.
you?
Hiya.
Yeah, listen, Posh Spice, first of all, seems to have broken the rules of etiquette, doesn't she, by letting this slip that she's getting an OBE?
Yeah, you're supposed to keep it quiet, to be honest, Mike. And everybody that's due to be on the list receives a letter from the Cabinet Office, usually about 6 weeks before the announcement date. And firstly, it asks them if they would accept an honour if the Queen was minded to give them one.
Right.
And the reason they word it like that is that if they say no, then she won't put them on the list and they can't embarrass her by turning it down, which people have done in the past.
Sure.
But then it goes on to say, please don't mention this, keep it confidential until the announcement date. And, of course, some naughty people do let it slip, and it happened to Lenny Henry quite recently, and it's happened to Victoria Beckham. And we don't know whether she's done it, her PR people have done it, or who may have done it. But it does mean that these people, as Lenny Henry did, steal a march publicity-wise, and, of course, a lot of this is to do with publicity at the end of the day, by making sure it gets leaked.
Thing is, Mark, with social networking these days, she could literally have just mentioned it over a family lunch with David and her 3 sons and a daughter, and of course her lads, who are now, sort of either middling or elderly teenagers. One of them just could have tweeted his mate or something like that, or, oh, isn't it exciting, whatever, and that's the way it gets out, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, young people can't resist, perhaps, giving the newspapers a call or whatever it might be, or just tweeting it out, as you say.
Yeah.
But, of course, if she is to receive an OBE for services to fashion and charity, which is what they seem to be saying, then the million-dollar question here is, has she excelled in those areas, and is she truly a leader in her field? Or is she just leveraging her husband's celebrity status and riding on his coattails?
Well, certainly one particular newspaper columnist says that, the idea of giving Posh Spice an OBE is reason enough to scrap the entire system.
Well, would she have made it as a fashion designer if she wasn't married to David? There are some unanswered questions here. And there are so many ordinary people, as I call them, out there, working tirelessly for charity in the community that don't get the recognition they deserve because they're not in the public eye like she is, and no one bothers to nominate them. Yeah. So if your listeners do know someone they feel deserves an honour, and they're not a global megastar, then put them forward. You can nominate any worthy person for a gong, but they have to be in it to win it.
Now, this is kind of like nectar to the ears of Mike Porky Parry, who's been after. No, you have been after a New Year's honour for as long as I can remember knowing you.
Hang on, I just want to comment on what Mark said about Posh Spice. I think what you've just said is outrageous. I think it's sexist. I mean, the point is, everybody forgets that Posh Spice was a member of the most successful girl group that's ever been, right? They sold more records, they had more concerts, they were more famous than anybody else, and that alone, in my view, makes her a big, big winner in the world. She chose to marry David Beckham because she loved him. David Beckham was not the world's most famous footballer when she married him, by any stretch of the imagination, and between them, they became the golden couple. And on the day that she was opening a new store in the West End, she wasn't there, she was at the United Nations promoting a charity. So I think you've been extremely harsh on Victoria Beckham.
Well, he's only posing the questions a lot of other people
No,
pose.
you're not. You're supposed to be a neutral force here, Mark. And
I think you're going to blow your chance. You're going to blow your chance of getting a knighthood.
You're basically saying you don't think she's worthy of it, and I think that's outrageous. I think she is.
Well, to be fair, she's won awards for her fashion work, but is she really designing the clothes, or is she just...
Well, how do you know? Do you know the name of the person who is designing them, then?
I just posed the question in the same way as David...
Yeah, but you see, you're putting doubts in people's minds, and that's very unfair unless you have concrete evidence. You know, we are journalists. We are fact recorders here, Mark. Fact recorders.
How many fragrances has David Beckham got? I reckon 101 at least. I wonder if he mixed and designed each of those fragrances.
It doesn't matter though, does it really, Mark? Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's the business that they're in. They're in the business of promotion, they're in the business of selling stuff, and they're in the business of being very famous and making hay while the sun shines, as it were. So I don't really care. I mean, I presume as well that there are lots of people who make fragrances that also don't necessarily have much to do with choosing them. Or,
but Mike,
does that matter?
But Mike, she's getting an OBE for services to fashion.
Yes.
Now, if she's playing no part in designing,
but you're assuming that though. You don't know that.
We don't know. I'm just posing the question. I don't know. She'll put us right. She may be sweating for hours in the cutting room.
She's not. She's not. She's ahead of it. Do you think that Yves Saint Laurent spent hours in the cutting room shaping, a handkerchief or something like that? What I'm saying is, the reason these people get honours is because, hang on, their celebrity and their fame allows them to promote causes that need promotion, that need the camera of fame thrust upon them. She does that.
She's also a patron of Elton John's AIDS Foundation. She's a patron of Save the Children.
Absolutely.
She does a lot of charitable work.
I think you've been horribly cruel.
I don't think you should be turning this into an argument about Posh Spice.
Well, it's all about Posh Spice.
Well, no.
I will eat my Victoria Beckham handbag.
Oh, yeah?
If Yves Saint Laurent, when he was younger, starting out, wasn't sweating it for hours, designing his own clothes.
Yeah.
I bet, however, Victoria
what about Pierre
Beckham
Cardin?
Didn't sweat it for and him, any designer.
I tell you what, she would draw up.
You name them.
Now listen,
I know for a fact she drew up designs and hawked them around all the major fashion houses and was rejected time and time again until she got it. And just because some columnist, from a middle market paper says, "Oh, this is the death knell for our
you just don't like Sarah.
So
now you're attacking Sarah Vine.
Well, Sarah Vine, who's the wife of Michael Gove, who's a failed politician, right? What right has she got to say that I'm better than Posh Spice?
Porky's gone mad.
Do you not think that so-called exclusive that particular middle market paper ran yesterday and is known for giving everyone a good slagging? Don't you think that paper may have been specifically chosen in order to get a positive piece out there early doors before it's made public?
You're full of conspiracy theories, Mark.
Everyone launches
you certainly are, Mark,
For heaven's sake, look, I wanted to ask you a question. When
did you give up your job with MI6?
I want to ask you a question. Now, obviously, Porky's upset you now, so you might not wish to help him out, but I understand that 50% of the people that you promote as people that should get OBEs, or honours in the system, actually get them. So, can you get Porky Parry an OBE? That's my question to you.
I will do my very best.
Please, for my work with charities.
Oh, well, so now you're going to beg him for it?
No. I'm just
after slagging him off for the last 5 minutes.
Mark is a very fair-minded man. Just because you don't agree with everything he necessarily says, he will not ignore the contribution I've made to the world and to life in general over the last 45 years.
Yeah, I mean, Porky Parry he calls himself a man of the people, right? He owns several properties. We don't know how many. He doesn't know how many they are.
Portfolio. That's nothing to do with me.
He doesn't allow them to keep cats. He doesn't allow them to keep bikes. In fact, not only does he not allow that, he kicks them out. He's been a terrible boss over the years in very, very different organisations. He once ran an internet television station down into bankruptcy.
What?
He was addicted to Benylin at one point when he was at the Daily Express. He was sent off to America to get himself out of the way because he was so objectionable to everybody else. I mean, could you work with a man like this?
Well, he's stacking up quite favourably compared to Victoria Beckham.
Well, you see, that is absolutely shocking.
It's a shocking thing to say.
Absolutely shocking.
Well, Mark, listen, thank you very much indeed. Do you think Andy Murray's going to get a knighthood as well while we're at it? Because a lot of the bookies seem to think that.
I reckon Andy Murray may well get a knighthood. And what about Nigel Farage? I think he could be up for something if they're brave enough to give him.
They're not going to give Nigel Farage a knighthood, are they?
Well, they normally give the ambassador to the United States a knighthood before he gets there, don't they?
Well, absolutely. And we all know where he's destined for.
Yeah, we do.
Well, we shall see. Well, listen, Mark, thanks very much indeed. We'll be in touch about trying to get an award from the royal family.
Just check your facts next time you come on this show.
For Mike Parry. Here's one from Kelly. It says, according to Mike Parry, he's a fact recorder. It says more like a fat recorder.
Well, that's a bit harsh, isn't it?